Kabam!
I can hear the demons call when they do what they do. And now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through, I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. Sometimes I feel like all is lost, but I know it's not true. I wanna put up all my walls cause I'm not in the mood, but then I cut myself off from the rest of the room. I know that time can heal it all if you're patient, and soon it can all be worth it, all the searching. Pain is never really permanent, but damn it hurts, man. I could feel all of the turbulence and it's concerning. I've been searching for a purpose, I hope it's worth it. This society is really trying me. Ain't no hide and seek, I hide to be far from anxiety. I need my space, I need my privacy. I need some silence, please, you're all too loud. You don't speak quietly, opinions violently thrown across every surface. It makes me nervous, it's the world honestly burning. That's all I'm learning, hope that we can make a turn and start reversing all our minds and put the work in. We got some work, man. I can hear the demons call when they do what they do. And now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through, I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through. Gotta get through this, life is a nuisance, tie up some loose ends. I try to be human, find a solution, my evolution. A place like this, it didn't exist, we made it like this. So you can go pick the bad or the good, got a glass half wish. I know, it's easier to hide than just to lay low. Not everyone in life has got a halo. I'm standing in the red inside a payphone. Just wanna break, no, I'm not gonna give in. Take a last shot, Michael J. Win. No, I'm not a robot, I'm in my own skin. Never get lost when thoughts pull you in. I miss the old you, we died with a purpose. All the energy around me felt nervous, scared I would pop off fast to the surface. Had to cut it off before you made me worthless. Torn apart, I've been torn and scarred. I had a given art, but now I'm thinking smart. I'm keeping up my guard, I'm hiding every card. A royal flush of love, you never know what's hard. With a back to the mat, gonna see where I'm at. I'ma fight like I'm mad, I'ma be something that they can never be me. Nice try, but they'll see I achieve everything while they stay salty. I can hear the demons call when they do what they do. And now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through, I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through. I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quench the thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic with this logic, you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic. Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like gin and tonic. Got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep them out your face, no way, you don't want them, yeah. Don't try to drain my energy. The enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me. I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this. Freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus. Living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it. Go on and take your aim. Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I can change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the gas, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grieving. Put your foot on the gas, no, never stop competing, yeah. I'm taking shots at the enemy. I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with the new rock, electronic, blow the sonic roof off. I'm too honest when I take a few shots. They're too toxic, need to take the noose off. And you cannot save me, 'cause I don't need saving. It's everything I've been chasing, all here for the taking. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough disease. I'm sick of all the bad thoughts, people who are half-nots. You were not as tough I'm back, you know that I never left. I got tracks and some music that you never guess. I don't slack, don't lose, learn your lesson yet. When I get to choose what I do, I'm like a weapon. I'm not sharp as many, but got heart, I'm ready to change. Scars to envy, to win large and plenty. I like to play fast, never change back. Calling out, I'll pay back, 'cause I'm great at that. Oh, you cannot save me, 'cause I don't need saving. It's everything I've been chasing, all here for the taking. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough disease.
Going, Gone by Dick Sporting Goods.
People who were half-nots. You were not as tough. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough disease. I'm sick of all the bad thoughts, people who were half-nots, who were not as tough as me. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough disease. I'm sick of all the bad thoughts, people who were half-nots, who were not as tough as me.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Now, I am Bladecharge. Today we will be catching up with Ruby. And Oops, sorry. So, I'm gonna mute that down. I have something up just in case I need to do anything. So, I am promoting two streamers. I mean, two people. Which I'm put them right here. It's I guess I won't really tell the beans, but there's a company that is near and dear to me, and my game master, my dungeon master, with his art thing, he's having a pretty hard time and such. So I'll just put it in chat. My GM is an artist. He does do artwork. I believe he's accepting commissions. Although, do take note, that is very much 18 plus, shall we say? Okay, I'm gonna mute. With that, we are gonna go into episode 5, Lock and Loaded. This entire series is made by Celtic Phoenix and the Sketchy Huntsman and Company. I just thought I may as well just let the... Okay, yeah, that's good. Okay, I got nothing to worry about. Yeah. So they just did episode 7, just released today. This is episode 5.
Opens on a shot that gives us a decent look at Atlas from a distance. A hovering mass of rock and metal, with a sprawling city on top and a dangling undercarriage that serves as the main docking port below it. Notably, our version of Atlas is smaller than the one in canon.
Okay.
The one in canon is so massive, you could fit the entire state of Texas in it. Now, it's only a question
I did not know that. The entire state of Texas? Holy crap.
Metropolitan city, like a New York or Chicago, instead of Neo-Tokyo from Akira, which accounts for like 12 of those.
Hot damn. Hot damn. They weren't really thinking about the size. I think they were like, go ham, ho ho, on the sides, ho ho ho, let's go. Let's continue.
Proportionally, Mantle is much larger and more sprawling, which balances out the discrepancy in the number of elites versus the number of commoners in the setting. Anyway,
Okay.
The camera pulls back to find Ruby, staring out a window, marveling at the city. In the background, the rest of Team RWBY are in deep conversation with Junior and Team 32, everyone tentatively celebrating their success in the mines. In fact, we can still see the scuff and battle damage on them, but everyone is in a really good mood. Why is this the only person?
That's good. Oh yeah, just in case anybody was wondering, I did do all the other episodes on my channel in a video format.
To notice the apartness RWBY seems to have from the rest of the group. She walks up behind RWBY, brows raised at her, asking, "Everything okay, RWBY?" With a bittersweet sigh, RWBY replies, "It's so surreal being back here." We cut to outside.
I thought I heard something. Hey, hold on, man. We'll be back. Animals. It was a nothing but.
where we see they're standing in a hallway of Amity Arena, looking out one of the many windows on its exterior. Back inside, Weiss nudges Ruby's shoulder with her own playfully. It feels like forever ago. Hard to remember, it hasn't been all that long. Ruby turns to look at Weiss, but over her shoulder sees Penny chatting animatedly with Ciel. With a sigh, Ruby says, "Yeah." Looking back to the distance, Weiss frowns harder. "You know, we haven't really had time to talk recently. If there's something on your mind..." Across the room, a door leading into the interior of the Colosseum opens. The assembled teams turn to look at it, as do Weiss and Ruby. There's a beat before Blake raises a brow at the dark maw of the corridor and says, "Well, that's not exceedingly ominous." With broad, conspiratorial smiles, Flint and Neon slide to either side of the door and motion inward. Anxious looks are spared at the two.
It's a dark opening.
And the patiently waiting Ciel and Penny before the rest of the crew step into the darkness. Wordlessly, Ruby turns away from the window, walking into the corridor along with the group, followed by the concerned Weiss. This content and the rest of the content on Celtic Phoenix is brought to you by the wonderful people supporting the channel through Patreon. For just $1 or more, you can gain access to the Tundra Discord server, where you can interact with me and a whole host of my fellow internet colleagues.
I keep forgetting to change my pay, to switch my Patreon subscription a bit. You won't find me on this one, on these.
And adding your commentary to the reading. You can also join by becoming a member of the Celtic Phoenix YouTube channel, with the additional bonus of gaining access to a bunch of sweet emoticons during every one of our
streams. Don't look for me on these ones.
Which airs every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if either of those are too much for you, you can always subscribe to the channel, enable
excuse me, above.
Video, and share it around with all your friends. Thank you all so much for watching, and we now return you to your regularly scheduled.
Like, comment, subscribe. Hell. And my address there playthrough. I was debating on getting the YouTube premium stuff, but I'm like, nah, fuck that. I ain't helping out YouTube's greedy.
For a brief moment, we're left in the darkness. Then, there's an electrical hum, and the lights of Amity Arena snap to life. Our crew walk out onto the main platform of the arena, where Ironwood stands waiting, with Crow, Winter, and Clover lined up off to the side. Around them, work to modify the arena is already underway, with some gutted stands, light fixtures, and even a missing panel in the floor that's a gaping hole right into open air. Despite this, much of it remains unchanged from how it had been during the fall of Beacon. All of Strike Team 32 fall in line besides Clover, while Ruby Jr. are lined up in front of Ironwood.
Nice.
Tall and proud, Ironwood addresses the group. It goes without saying that this arena holds significance to all of us. It's only fitting that we should be able to reconvene here, now, when the world needs to be protected the most. Off to the side, Penny bounces excitedly, holding an open scroll, and Winter rests a hand on her shoulder to restrain the motion. Ironwood continues. The road you traveled from our first meeting hasn't been easy. You fought for your school and your friends at Beacon Academy. You fought for the world and the innocent at Haven Academy, and beyond. You faced down terrors people couldn't even imagine. That's not the behavior of students. It's the behavior of huntsmen and huntresses. Penny skips forward eagerly to stand in front of Ren. She flicks a button on her scroll before moving down the line, doing the same for everyone. One by one, as she does, each of our protagonists gets a notification.
I thought that was my
crisp new huntsman licenses. Ruby stares.
I thought that was my Twitch going off.
At it, somewhat pleased, but the haze hanging over her is not quite clearing. Looking up to Ironwood, she says with a more determined edge, "We are honored, General." Appearing behind the seven, as if from nowhere, Neon and Penny raise several party poppers in the air and pull the cords to celebrate, making everyone flinch. We use a little camera trickery to carry us off to the stands, where the group are now standing among a collection of hors d'oeuvres, individual cakes, and apparent champagne. Off to the side, Flint plays a little graduation theme on his trumpet quartet, and Ciel unenthusiastically blows into a party horn. She follows it up by asking, "Is that what you wanted?" And Penny, delighted, replies,
have some more energy, man.
"Yes!" Ciel rolls her eyes and tosses the party horn away. Ironwood smiles, appreciating the notion, but lays out some notes before festivities can get into full swing. "We'll just have to look past your youthful exuberance during the exam. Beacon's graduates have always had free spirits." John looks over at Ruby unamused. "I still can't believe you did that." Ruby smiles sheepishly and shrugs. I mean, technically the exam was over. Ironwood shakes his head fondly. I will warn you, that won't always get you out of trouble. Ruby scratches the back of her head with an awkward giggle as Ironwood drops back into his observations. Usually, Atlas graduates are mentored by a fully realized huntsman, but clearly both of your teams already have one. James gives a glance over to the surprised Crow, who scrambles to shove his scroll away, clearly taking several hundred photos of his graduating nieces in the space of a mere second. Nora glances over
niece,
to
man. You
Strike
better
232,
deal with it.
led by Clover, and comments, "Oh, so that's why there's 5. Ironwood finishes the thought. Normally it'd be 1 huntsman to 1 team, but an exception can be made in this circumstance. I trust Crow to oversee both teams. Standing more properly, Ironwood looks them over to give final words. Naturally, as new members of the...
I have to handle something real. Let me handle this real quick. Oh no, never mind. Well, I have to do that real quick. Oh. Okay.
The Elysian Huntsman, you'll be given a generous stipend to repair your equipment and
yes,
refit yourselves as you see fit. The group turn to look at each other and slowly realize the absolute travesty their clothing and equipment have become after the battle. Yang in particular holds a burned strand of hair between
Yeah,
their
they're
fingers,
gonna need
face
their new
pencil.
clothing.
Neon, off to the side, yells teasingly, "You look like trash!" Ironwood ignores her. In addition, you're all entitled to individual dorm rooms, courtesy of the Atlas military. All 7 look between each other uncomfortably before Ruby sheepishly asks, could we maybe stay together? Without missing a beat, Ironwood rolls with it. Or you could stay together in a dorm. I'll have one prepared for each of your teams. High fives ripple through the 7 as Ironwood moves on to finish his speech. With your licenses, you'll be happy to know the training wheels are coming off. More complicated and dangerous missions, the ones you would have been prevented from seeing, will be available to you. Something tells me that once you've had a chance to catch your breaths, you'll feel right at home. Ending off with another warm smile, he motions to the food around them, which Nora has already snuck away with a plate of snacks for herself. It may not be the graduation party some of you were probably hoping for back at Beacon, but I hope it'll be enough to mark the occasion. Please, have your fill. The soiree kicks off properly with Penny giddily handing out food and favors, prattling on about this being her first party. In her excitement, she shoves a piece of cake into Nora's mouth, earning laughter from around the room and from Nora herself. Off to the side, Ciel is staring in horrified shock while Neon is laughing her ass off and Flint is trying to hold his back. Ciel glares at Neon, quickly putting the pieces together in her head before saying, "Did you tell her?" "Of course you did." Nora begins to chase Penny, and both Ciel and Ren watch with empty expressions at their partners. Quietly, Ciel says, "I'm sorry about this." And Ren replies, "It was inevitable." There's a moment of quiet between the two stoics before Ren speaks again. "I like your pistols." To which Ciel responds with a, "Likewise." Nearby, Ruby and John fall into each other's arms for a bone-shattering hug, happily crying into each other's shoulders.
We're official!
Behind them, Weiss is wiping away a tear and looking at a statement on her scroll. "My bank account's back in the black." Ruby pulls back from John, a glimmer growing in her eyes.
Oh yeah.
She begins to shuffle in place excitedly, squeeing,
"Oh, I can't wait! I can finally make all the repairs I need to my baby! And maybe get some other nice stuff on the side, too!"
Her team watches her endearingly, only for her to glance their way, and
Weapon Ruby. Gotta love it.
She zips up to them.
Ooh, I know! I can help you guys fix your gear, too! I've actually got some cool ideas for Mirror Master, and Blake, I know Gamble broke, so I had some thoughts on how you could modify Shroud to compensate... Blake's hesitant voice cuts Ruby's excited rambling off. Actually, Ruby, she holds her shoulder and sends a cautious glance to Yang. "I was kinda thinking Yang could help me work on my weapon this time around." Yang starts in place, blinking Blake's way before answering. Yeah, sure. Ruby
destroyed.
"Oh." But Yang is quick to catch it, giving her shoulder a light punch. "Cheer up, Rubes. You can help me fix Ember Celica. I kinda need a new one, and that last fight gave me a few ideas I want to run by you." Again, that puppy-like energy returns to Ruby, who stares teary-eyed up at her sister. "That'll all be easier with another arm, I imagine." The 4 turn to Ironwood, stepping up to the group. "I won't ask what happened to the first one, but I'll assume you ran it through its paces. The replacement should already be in your new accommodations." Yang's smile softens considerably. The playful mood
Well, Adam cut it off.
Pleasant. Thank you, General. I was wondering how to ask people for a hand. Started considering just rocking the new look. She
Damn.
rolls the nub on her arm playfully for emphasis. He dismisses the thanks with a shake of his head. No need to thank me. Consider it an investment in the future of Remnant. Turning to Ruby, he hands her the same key card she got from Cordovan last season. As is this.
Nice.
She takes the card hesitant.
Oh my god, Ruby looks like a... The Ruby's kind of look like a ghost like last time. It kind of looks like she is the white husk.
Excited mood slipping into confusion, anxiety, and regret as she looks down at it. Ruby, this card has one of the highest clearances in Atlas. It allows access to the Relic Chamber and the Maiden's Quarters. In the event of an emergency, I hope I can trust you to protect her and the relic in my stead. Ruby's fingers tighten around the laminated card, her face neutral and serious. She meets his eyes.
Go get it, girl.
I understand, General. You can trust me. The other three members of the team
Good.
stare at her with mixed emotions, the knowledge that Ruby has already hidden things from him clearly on their minds. He nods in acknowledgement before turning to Blake.
Yeah.
Miss Belladonna, I also have something I wish to...
Like, still, I don't... Like, I kind of understand why he's open up, but I kind of think that he should be more preserved, to be honest.
speak with you about. There's a beat as the four stare expectantly up at him, only for him to clarify, in private if that's not too much trouble. Understanding dawns on the other three girls, and they glance at Blake. She gives him a confident nod, and the three step away back to the rest of the soiree.
Let's
Though
go.
notably, Weiss never stops paying attention and is never too far away. After ensuring they're alone, Blake looks his way. What is it you wanted to talk about? Ironwood gives
Probably
her a
about her
sympathetic
family.
smile. Nothing pleasant, unfortunately. Despite Atlas's reputation for uniformity being largely exaggerated, there are some things that cannot be permissed. Wearing the uniform of foreign law enforcement, for example. Blake realizes what he's talking about and looks down at her outfit. I won't tell you where to allocate your funds that you've been provided, but I would recommend you set a part of it aside to assemble a new wardrobe. There is something to be said of representing where you came from, of being proud of your home, but we can't have you confused for a menagerie guardsman. Pulling at the sleeves of her jacket, Blake is thoughtful as she replies, No, I understand.
I mean, on a political level, yeah, you would have to, because if people look at you and they see that you're menagerie and that's their official robe and such, they're gonna think that people from menagerie all came over to Alice for political discussions and whatnot. So and since you're not doing that, you have to change it up.
I'll get right on it, General. Ironwood nods. That's all I can ask. He walks past Blake, towards the catering table where Clover is keeping...
Sorry, I keep hearing stuff. I have to take care of it. Okay, we're back.
keeping watchful eye on the partygoers. Didn't your parents give that to you? Blake jumps as Weiss walks up beside her, eyes narrowed at the now distant Ironwood. Blake's eyes follow, frowning. They did, but he couldn't know that. Weiss, seeing Blake's frown, takes a breath and starts to walk after Ironwood. Well, let's just tell him. I'm sure he'll change his... Weiss has stopped when Blake breaks Weiss's wrist.
No, Weiss, though. There's a reason.
It's fine. Slowly, Weiss turns, locking eyes with Blake. But it means something to you, doesn't it? Blake shakes her head. I'm not going to get rid of it, but I'm also not going to ignore that I'm not at home anymore. Looking down at the jacket, Blake thumbs at the material fondly. This outfit has helped me find where I need to be. Maybe now I'm where that is, it's time for a change of pace. Weiss grows pensive at the response, not quite mollified, but not quite dismissing it outright. Blake's arms wrap around Weiss's shoulders, and Weiss stiffens in surprise. It's okay, Weiss, though I'm glad to know you care. Weiss returns the hug as her face sinks deeper into reflection. Blake is about to speak again to reassure Weiss even more when a loud yell comes from the party behind them. Nora is swaying back and forth, waving a nearly empty champagne.
The food fight scene.
pain bottle and standing on a ramshackle stack of dismantled stadium chairs. She laughs over everyone else,
Yeah, same cheers.
drunkenly singing, "I'm Queen of the... Queen of the... Queen..." Ciel, seemingly on her last wit, is pinching her forehead. She eventually yells up, "Valkyrie, these drinks are non-alcoholic! We have minors here! Why would we provide inebriants?" As soon as Ciel says non-alcoholic, Nora sobers up. She doesn't lose her balance so much as she just stops swaying completely and the stack of chairs collapses in on itself. Nora rides it down, gracefully sitting down mid-slide, and cups her chin in her hands with a sigh. "Ah, you guys are no fun." Well, Ciel is definitely unimpressed. Most of the other partygoers are either amused or outright laughing at Nora's shenanigans. Ruby, who has sat down in the nearby stands by this point, watches warmly, but her mirth is overshadowed by some level of exhaustion. Crow slides up beside her and sits down, giving her a nudge with his elbow. "Big day for you, huh?" Ruby is still lost in thought when she replies, "It's definitely a lot to take in." "Which part? The finally getting to Atlas part, getting your license part, or the not quite disclosing everything to Ironwood part?" Ruby tenses up, but Crow's gaze doesn't become accusatory, it's more concerned than anything. Ruby runs things over in her head, staring down at the ID badge. "Everything we've seen, Lionheart, Cordovan, Ozpin, I'm trying to do what's best, but I don't know who we can trust anymore." Crow frowns. "You don't feel like you can trust him?" Both her and Crow look over at Ironwood, chatting amicably with Ren and Winter. Ruby shakes her head. "It's not... He looked so tired. You saw how he looked when we told him we found Ozpin? He's the only person with a plan that might work. Telling him everything might..." Ruby trails off, not quite sure how to finish the thought.
Destroy his will? Yes.
Crow hums appreciatively. And the relic?" Ruby frowns contemplatively. "Maybe I am no different from Oz." Seeing the distraught look on her face, he rests a hand on her shoulder. "You're
Damn.
not Oz. You're not keeping secrets for yourself. It sounds more like you're protecting him." Ruby looks up to him, a little more confident but still unsettled. "Do you think I should tell him?" Crow waves the question away with a shake of his head. "If it were me, I would, but I'm hardly a good judge of character. But if you're feeling conflicted, well, there's a couple of people I think would be happy to talk to you about it." Crow suddenly shifts their attention to where Blake and Weiss are talking with John. Ruby stares at them, the conflict on her
Friendship.
face beginning to still as she mulls over the suggestion. It's then replaced by confusion. "Wait, where's Yang?" A weight suddenly falls over Ruby and Crow's shoulders as Yang shoves into them from behind. Boo! Ruby is startled, lurching away and flailing her arm.
Ruby's face. It's the sheer horror. The horror. The horror.
Arms to ward Yang away, while Crow just rolls his eyes, reaches up, and pulls Yang into a headlock with almost no effort. She
Tonight on WWE.
cries out, suddenly partly strangled. "No fair!" Crow smiles at her,
Actually, I don't
shaking
know.
her around a bit in his grip. "You're a huntsman now. Everything's fair." The words prompt Ruby to pull out her scroll and look at her official huntsman license, while Yang writhes in Crow's arms. She looks at it almost sardonically. "This says I'm a huntsman, but honestly I don't feel like I know much more than I did at Beacon." Crow laughs and releases Yang so she can catch her breath in the seat beside him. That feeling never goes away. He looks between the two girls with a firm smile. "Summer would be proud of you two." Both Ruby and Yang smile at him, though the smiles soon slip away. "You have to wonder what she'd say," Yang muses, resting her chin on her hand. Ruby alternates looking between the license in her hand and the keycard. Scrunching her eyebrows, she asks, "Her last mission, was it another Oz secret?" The question makes Crow shift uncomfortably where he sits. "I don't know. When she didn't come back, he seemed just as in the dark as me and Ty. Not that we ever got a straight answer out of him. Now, though, I don't know how much stock I would put in that." Ruby and Yang both share in his discomfort, and Yang follows it up by asking, "You know, Raven knew Oz was up to something. Do you think that Mom..." Crow shakes his head. "If she did, she never led on to it. At least not to me. Besides,
Doing some still by shenanigans.
she wasn't exactly Raven's biggest fan during the falling out. You'd think they'd be more on the same page." The sisters digest his words, and Ruby's face continues to twist in thought.
Hey,
Maybe
Blaze.
Mom had a different idea of how to do things. Maybe she found a different way. Though her brow is pinched in distress, something dangerous begins to pierce through it. Hope. What if Mom is still out there, but she can't remember? Crow cuts her off, and though it starts harsh, it simmers into a dull, aged pain.
What?
Maybe that's not a road you want to go down. Trust me. Silence lingers between
Creepy.
the three, and Crow, realizing the mood is dead, tries to revitalize it. Whatever she needed to do, I know she did it. She would have pressed on until she did. Like you guys, she was always the best of us. Somber though it may be, some warmth returns to the girls, and Crow opens his arms for an admittedly awkwardly angled hug for the both of them. But they accept it
you're on
all
the
the
chair,
same, and
so-
the three revel in that moment. Crow caps it by ruffling both of their hairs. Bit of a
Do I have land flies? Yes. We do have land flies. There isn't that many over here, but there are some. That's probably because people kept killing them and such a lot last time.
brat, though. But hey, I like brats. Both girls playfully wriggle out of his grasp and slap his hand away while they laugh. The camera dips down, sliding into the ground before dropping out of the bottom of a maintenance tunnel. A shadowy figure walks through the cramped space, carrying a case in one hand and his scroll in the other.
That's Waltz.
Doors that stand in his way, notably locked by digital pads, automatically open after their control panel displays glitch out. After a few short seconds, the last door opens and he emerges out, onto the streets of Mantle. Our first time seeing the streets, we get a good look of Atlas floating in the sky above, the buildings reaching up like fingers to grasp it. Water drizzles down from the buildings, melted snow from the overworked HVAC system serving as ersatz rain. The camera cuts to above to show the calculating gaze of Arthur Watts, having just emerged from what was labeled as an Elysian maintenance tunnel, built into the city's wall. Watts begins to stroll through the night, checking a map on his scroll that is directing him to something. A call from a blank number comes through when he does, and he answers it, though he transfers it over to an earpiece so he can stow it back in his pocket. He doesn't give the other speaker a chance to speak. Is it done? Tyrion's voice carries over the
I figure it's Tyrion.
line, frustration absolutely seeping through every word. Of course it's done. We cut over to Tyrion in a dark apartment, illuminated only by the road lights outside bleeding through the window. He's covered in blood and pulling a body with one arm while on the phone with the other. A child could have slaughtered everyone in this building and not even broken a sweat. We cut back to Watts, still comfortable in his stride as he crosses a
Oh, was that exaggeration?
street. If that's the case, perhaps I should look into outsourcing your role in all of this. Certainly children would be more tolerable conversationalists. Tyrion's voice is harsh in return. Give me a real challenge. None of these people are any fun. All they do is beg for their lives, talk about some integrity bullshit, blah de blah. No wonder you wanted them dead. Your ego wouldn't fit in the city if they were still here. Watts is unaffected by the insult, rounding a corner and approaching an Elysian public safety kiosk. Casually, he opens a maintenance panel and inserts some kind of drive into the access port. His scroll chimes to confirm the connection, and he pulls it out to view the incoming data. If my ego couldn't survive a couple measly reporters, I'd never be able to go anywhere. To begin with, I'd have to consider them human, and
Okay. So they were reporters that he killed.
even my genius couldn't fathom such a possibility. He sorts through a number of different directories for the local security systems, landing on the cameras. Skimming through, something catches his eye. Oh, fascinating. We cut to his screen, where he enlarges one of the security feeds to show Cinder and Malachite, still cloaked, walking
Yep. They found Sin and such now.
down
Cinder's
the
alive.
street.
They found out now that Cinder's alive.
And only just being picked up on the camera. Watts looks down at the timestamp for the video. Been here a few weeks, have you? He looks up to the city's skyline and the ominous rock of Atlas above. And look how little you have to show for it. Typical. Tyrion's voice cackles over the call. Mutter, what are you muttering about now? Watts rolls his eyes. A development to keep an eye on, no more, no less. Holding up his scroll, he drags open an overlay and begins to type into it. Though I shall be the only one keeping an eye on it. With one final press of a key, we see the footage of Cinder and Malachite, and see them dissolve in a wave of bubbling pixels. Watts looks up from where he is, right into the nearest camera. He smiles, broad and smug, before bowing. As he does, his form bubbles with pixels as well, before dissolving completely, leaving only an empty street corner. We cut to black and end the
He deleted the feed. So let's go look through the credits. Oh, make sure everybody gets appreciated and such. Are you going to Bloomfield today, Mr. Blaze? So we're going to the next episode. Ah, shit. Okay, so before we go into the next one, let me go over here and post the links again. Oh, ignore Nightbot. So, this is the company that I wish to support today. It is the owner's birthday. And the second one is my game master, my dungeon master. And he's having some trouble, so if you wanna, he does not safe work and safe for work art if you wanna get in any artwork. Also, if any of you on Bloomfield, PA, Higher Healing Witchery is there. I'm also going to be physically down there tomorrow as well. In case anyone wondering. So with that being said, let's continue. But we're going to skip the intro though.
Episode 6 opens with Team RWBY standing outside a
The
door in one
next
of Atlas
road
Academy's many
rises.
hallways. RWBY is looking up and down the hall for another door while Weiss points at the sign above the entrance indignantly. RWBY, it says armory. RWBY groans in frustration.
Yeah,
but which armory? There were like 4 of them on the tour. Did anyone catch which Penny said was the main one? Yang shakes her head. Gonna be honest, I zoned out after like 5 minutes. To which Blake adds sheepishly.
Eh.
Yeah, same. RWBY
Well, just go in and find out.
slumps, whining. Penny said she'd meet us here. Where is she? Weiss rolls her eyes. It's 6:57, RWBY. Either she's just running late or she's already inside. Why don't we just step in and ask? I'm sure they'll understand. RWBY motions to the sign. It says it doesn't open for another 3 minutes. Weiss shakes her head and moves towards the door. It'll be fine, I promise. Weiss steps forward and opens the door, and the team enter a cavernous room laden with various pieces of hardware, equipment, and workbenches, ranging from rudimentary, though sleek, forges to incredibly advanced
Penny's getting fixed.
precision machining tools. To their delight, Penny is immediately visible, lying on one of the workbenches, while an obscured figure operates a futuristic-looking welding tool on one of her uncovered leg thrusters. She sits up with no problem, smiling and giving them an excited wave. Hello, friends. You may want to shield your eyes. Yang is halfway through a what?
And unless the eyes want to go blind.
When the mechanic activates an arc welder as he works on Penny's leg thruster. The entrance is filled with blinding blue-white light, and all of the girls, save
Oh,
Ruby,
God.
flinch as they're blinded by it. The mechanic finishes working, and the girls uncoil. Yang absently mutters, "My spots have spots." Weiss scowls, rubbing at her eyes. A little more warning would have been nice. Blake is the last to speak,
Well, I mean, she told you.
blinking blurrily at RWBY. RWBY? You okay? You didn't even move. RWBY blinks back at her with a shrug. Oh, yeah, I'm kinda used to that. When I first got into weapon work, Crow never told me about welding masks, so I just used 4 of Yang's sunglasses taped together. There's a beat of silence as the 3 of them stare at her in horror. Yang humming. Oh, so that's why you didn't have eyebrows in the 6th grade. A jolly voice breaks the moment. Sorry about that, folks. Approaching them is Pietro.
I mean, if you gotta get the work done, you gotta get the work done, you know?
whose design is largely unchanged from canon, save the addition of a welder's mask and gloves for this scene in specific, and the addition of retractable wheels on his spider chair, which allows for much smoother transportation across level surfaces.
Kitty!
He takes off his mask and gloves and puts on a fashionable flat cap.
No, don't do
Just
that,
needed
Kitty!
to make an adjustment on Penny. Thought it'd be safe since we don't open for a few more minutes. The three pairs of still somewhat bleary eyes float over to Weiss, who stands up straighter, gracefully throwing an upward palm in Ruby's direction. Of course, it was rude to jump the gun like that, Ruby. Ruby stares at her in bafflement, waving her hands indignantly in the air and floundering to find her words. The man
She got bamboozled. Bamboozled.
just laughs. Nothing rude about it. I'm always excited to see new faces. I just hope your eyeballs didn't get cooked after that. Stepping out from behind his chair,
Yeah, welding is normally dangerous for your eyes. You could get like blinded, get permanent damage and such. Not great stuff, not great stuff.
is Penny, beaming like a 1,000-watt bulb. Team RWBY, I would like you to meet my father, Pietro Polendina, the Overseer of Arms and Development for Atlas, Honorary Professor of Combat Arms Design, Philanthropic Operator of... Pietro shines his own broad smile at Penny's clear attempts to show off her father. Shaking his head, he places a hand on her shoulder to calm her
That's adorable.
before he warmly speaks to the girls. It's so nice to finally meet my daughter's friends. I hope Atlas is treating you girls well? With his title announced, the four stand up a little bit straighter and Ruby rubs the back of her head. Yes, sir. It's nice to meet you too, sir. We're, here to fix our gear, sir. Pietro laughs at Ruby's fumbling. Oh, don't worry about the title. He moves his chair back towards the table he was working on to clean up his equipment, with the five girls following after him. Largely ceremonial these days. Got a younger generation with fresh faces that do all the heavy lifting. I'm just here to make sure nothing important explodes too badly. Most of the time, I'm actually helping the first years find their footing and doing clinic work down in Mantle. Stowing most of the tools and
Yes. Gotta protect the goods from the kids these days, little rascals.
compartments along his chair, he turns to them and motions to the whole of the space around them. Ironwood messaged me ahead with all the permissions you need to work in here. He leans in close with a conspiratorial laugh. But between you and me, I'd have let you four have run of the shop just for being such a good friend to my girl. They all spare Penny a glance, who clearly overheard them, and she waves at them cheerily. He leans back up and moves towards the administrator's desk in the corner of the room. You four be careful now, and if you need any help, I'm always willing to lend a hand. Ruby crosses her arms and nods confidently. We won't need the help. I've got us all squared away. Blake elbows Ruby's side. Don't be rude, Ruby. And Pietro just laughs good-naturedly. Not a problem. I know the type. Come along now, Penny. Let's see how that thruster's handling. Penny hops on her heel and politely chimes. Yes, father. Farewell, Team RWBY. I wish you all the best of luck.
They did a really good job on them, I must say. Really did digging that artwork.
The four wave the father-daughter pair off before turning to the work at hand. Ruby pumps her arm in the air. All right, Team RWBY, we're about to embark on our most important mission yet. The three look at her with bemusement. You all know what we need to do, so let's get out there and kick some butt. Team RWBY, mission commence! She pumps her fist again, and Blake and Yang join her, mutedly, in cheering. Hi! Weiss rolls her eyes at the goofiness, crossing her arms. Fun as that may sound, Mirror Naster is perfect just as it is. It just needs a good sharpening and polish. I only came here to restock on dust, so if you'll excuse me. Weiss turns on her heels and begins to walk towards a row of
Hey, they took that from Volume 1. Nice.
powdered dust dispensers, similar to those seen back in Volume 1. Ruby's voice
Hey, I just mentioned that. Hey.
carries on after her. Oh, Weiss! What if I make you some speed loaders? Weiss stops in place, thinks for a moment, and cocks her head back towards Ruby.
That would be helpful.
I'm listening. This content and the rest of the content on Celtic Phoenix is brought to you by the wonderful
Yeah, I do have a Patreon, but I don't expect me to be on there. I'm not on Phoenix's
people supporting the channel through
thingamabob.
Patreon. For just $1 or more, you can gain access to the Tundra Discord server, where you can interact with me and a whole host of my fellow internet colleagues, such as the other members of Team Frostbite and the Team Jacked podcast.
Which is how I got in, which is what I'm a patron of.
Become a part of our regular bad fanfiction nights that happen every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by joining our chat and adding your commentary to the reading. You can also join by becoming a member of the Celtic Phoenix YouTube channel, with the additional bonus of gaining access to a bunch of sweet emoticons during every one of our streams, such as the Team Jacked podcast, which airs every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if either of those are too much for you, you can always subscribe to the channel, enable alerts, like this video, and share it around to all your friends. Thank you all so much for watching, and we now return you to your regularly scheduled fixing. We cut over to a work table with Ruby rubbing her hands eagerly and Yang standing beside her. Standing straight and coughing into her fist, Ruby very delicately holds out her hand and closes her eyes. Yang, Ember Celica, if you will. Yang places the singular bracelet in Ruby's palm. I only brought the one, she explains, flexing her new golden robotic arm. And this time I'm opting not to go built-in. Hard alloy all the way through. Ruby nods appreciatively and places the bracelet down on the table, activating the mechanism so it pops into full form. She pulls over a large magnifying glass and inspects it thoroughly, humming and mumbling to herself, running through different small problems and concerns that might need to be addressed. Yang's brows narrow as Ruby mutters, eventually saying, "You know, I really just need a replacement for the..." Before Ruby bolts straight up. She nods confidently and says, I see. Well, in that case, back to basics." Yang only gets one
Damn, getting roasted by your own sister.
horrified moment to realize that Ruby wasn't listening to her at all before Ruby reaches down and in a single smooth motion dismantles Ember Celica all the way down to its base components. The parts spill out from each other in a crude pyramid, Yang watching with bulging eyes. We cut to Blake, who is lining up Shroud, Blush, and Wilt on her own workbench, looking at them pensively before we can hear Yang shrieking, "Ruby!" Blake turns in their direction only to see Yang storming off over to join Blake instead of hanging around her sister. Yang is muttering to herself, "I'm not going to kill her. I'm not going to kill her. I'm not going to kill her." As Yang sits on
No, do it. We want to see you do it.
a stool in front of Blake's station, Blake asks, "Yang? You okay?" Yang snaps up to look at Blake.
She will never be okay from this point forward.
"I'm not going to kill her. I mean, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine." Yang lets out a frustrated sigh.
Yeah, just play this freaking ad. Oh my god, there's two. I don't know what blockers I could actually get to help
Ruby wants to do things
prevent
her
this
way.
with
She
YouTube
can do
cracking
things
down
her
on
way.
them, so
When
sorry
I
about that.
get in the way. It's not like it's my weapon or anything. She crosses her arms and pouts. Blake smiles wryly. "Well, now that you're here, maybe you can help me get some ideas? I'm not quite sure where I want to start with this." Yang blinks out of her funk. "Oh yeah, you wanted my help." She looks down at the three weapons and slowly begins to frown, particularly looking at the glinting red blade. For a moment, the sheen from the overhead lights glints in a way reminiscent of Adam's old mask before flickering back. "Are you sure you want to use that?" Blake's face remains neutral as she very hesitantly rests a finger on the red metal. "I am,
Crap.
but I'm nervous about it." Looking up to Yang, she asks, "Does it make you uncomfortable?" Yang stares at the red blade, the fingers on her mechanical arm flexing open and closed. "A little bit, honestly." That's when Blake begins
Well, they did try to kill you with it and stuff, so yeah.
to frown, and Yang picks up on it almost immediately, rushing to stymie that. "Maybe run me through why? That might help." Blake stays pensive, even as her shoulders relax just a bit. Back when the White Fang started to shift focus,
You mean become murderers and terrorists?
protests started to turn more violent. Sometimes we were just protecting ourselves, other times, I won't say we were always in the right, but it was definitely a point of concern. We started to arm ourselves with whatever we could get our hands on. It's how I wound up with Gamble's Shroud. It was just some stock weapons one of our members cobbled together for me. Her hands briefly ghost over Shroud, almost lovingly, smiling at a bittersweet memory. The smile fades. Adam already
Is that like the canon story? Or is this like newly made up?
had a reputation for fighting humans to protect the other faunus. In hindsight, I don't think he ever stopped fighting, even after we knew they were safe. Every single time, he sounded so
justified to keep on going. He ended up saving Sienna's life when she was a new lieutenant. This sword was a thank you to him for that. Blake closes her eyes, trying to recall something. But it is more than a sword. This is a symbol. It is a warning of the teeth that we bear against the humans that would feed us lies, that would promise us equality.
Since, the species that has one of the funnest with slaves.
And deliver us only scraps. It is with this blade that we will protect ourselves with one claw and drag our way to the top of the mountain with the other. Again, a bittersweet smile. She always gave good speeches. Yang watches this, clearly engrossed in Blake's words. So, where are you going with this exactly? Blake's face
Ooh, she could have combined them all together? Ooh!
Drops back to neutrality, re-examining Adam's weapons. This blade was made to protect Faunus, to protect everyday people from the cruelties in the world, and it was twisted into a weapon of revenge. She makes a show of gripping the handle of the blade and spinning away from the table, swinging it down in an uneven slash. Staring at the wobble it has in her hands, Blake finishes. Maybe I can use it for what it was supposed to be, not what Adam twisted it to be. Eyes glued to Blake, Yang slowly comes to a stand beside her.
Symbolism.
Silently, through only nudges and body
Symbolic.
language, Yang asks Blake to hand the sword over, and she does after only a moment of hesitation. Holding Wilt by its grip in her left hand, she runs her robotic hand across the blade, inspecting it even as her fingers begin to tremble and jitter across it. She pulls her hand back into a fist, still trembling, but she turns to Blake with a smile that says everything. It's good metal. No.
Just in case nobody's aware, Adam, the one that they talked about, he cut off Yang's
No use letting it go
That's why she has a robo arm.
to waste. Blake brightens almost immediately, and Yang nods over to the workbench. Come on, I've got a few ideas. She rests the blade besides the other pieces as she starts talking. So, we should probably keep it kinda similar to what you're used to. The camera slowly pans away from them to where Ruby and Weiss are sorting through a pile of metal sheets. Ruby crinkles her nose at one as she inspects it, but smiles broadly at the one Weiss waves in front of her. Ruby takes it obscures the camera, and time cuts forward into a playful, music-only montage covering Team Ruby's work to re-equip themselves for their career as
The
hunters.
light blinds me. Oh.
We see Ruby and John talking in a hallway, with him opening his shield and Ruby taking avid notes at its function. We then hop over to Yang examining Blush, accidentally ejecting the magazine which Blake scrambles to catch. Following that is Weiss in the workshop, taking careful measurements of Mir Nasser's cylinder before double-guessing herself and measuring it again. The next segment
I do that so much with measurements at times, I swear.
appears from the perspective of a security camera,
Dang you, Warhammer 40k!
looking in on Roman and Neo's apartment. Neo jumps in surprise as Yang and Blake arrive for a visit. The footage cuts forward to show the three of them having a cup of tea together, and then cycles through different days as different combinations of Yang, Blake, Ruby, Ren, and Nora visit to play various games together, from cards to Jenga to Remnants of the Game. Then we slip away to a mall, where Ruby is about to walk into a clearance store which appears to be a mix of a Hot Topic and an army surplus, before being stopped by Weiss and Yang, both of whom shake their heads at Ruby. Ruby is dragged by her cape, practically kicking and screaming, towards the higher-end stores, with Blake in tow, laughing into her knuckles on the way. We flip
So it's like a fancy store then?
through Ruby trying on different outfits, and showing them off to her team outside the changing room.
Oh, that's a nice one right there.
Suffering the whole time despite their
Nice.
generally positive responses. The one time she seems really happy is with an incredibly rugged utilitarian look, save for her signature cape. But the rest of the girls clearly disapprove. With a silent groan, Ruby walks back into the changing room. From there we jump to the perspective of Ruby's scroll while they're eating at the cafeteria, looking up at her through the glass as she cycles through different missions. Her face shifts in time as she reads the descriptions and parameters, sorting through the various options as she goes. When she scrolls up, we transition back to the Oz apartment where Ruby, Yang, and Nora are visiting. Roman arrives to middling conversation from Ruby and Yang, while Nora seems a lot warmer by comparison. She playfully feigns punching him in the gut, then actually does twice when he flinches.
Ayo.
He basically doubles over in pain, but just smiles and bears it. Time skips forward to Roman challenging Ruby, then Nora, then Blake, then Weiss to games of chess, which he is very smug about winning, though less so each time. We return to the armory, in
But why?
particular its forge
Oh, that's because it's the Ospen in him.
with Blake.
She is sitting at a drafting table, working on the schematics for her new weapon. Sitting back pensively, she chews on the end of a pencil after becoming stuck on some aspect of it. Yang, passing by with a crate of supplies, takes one glance at the schematic. Leaning over Blake's shoulder, she reaches over and gently removes the pencil from between Blake's teeth. She draws a few quick lines on the schematic, nods in satisfaction, and places the pencil back into Blake's mouth. It falls out shortly
Like, here's your toy back.
after because Blake's mouth is parted in awe at the obvious solution. As Yang walks away, Blake shoots her an appreciative smile. Yang approaches Ruby and Weiss, dropping the crate for them and getting passing thumbs up from Ruby as she helps Weiss pour molten metal into a cast. Weiss's hands are trembling with uncertainty, out of her element, and almost spills the pot before Ruby steps in to steady her arms. From here, there's a brief moment where we cut away to the girls returning to a very sparse dorm, only to flicker through a sequence of them adding small bits and bobs that bring small amounts of personality to the space.
Yes, I do love doing that.
This includes a moment where Yang tries to park the still damaged Bumblebee inside before Weiss drags her back into the room by the ear and makes her remove it. The next jump is to Blake examining a collection of one-headed firearms, carefully laid out on the desk of a shooting range by a proud-looking John. She draws one with a
John, you don't use guns. Why are you there?
digital readout and lets loose a few rounds. She seems pleased until Ruby walks over to them, face clearly unamused. She lifts a magnet to the side of the pistol, and immediately the readout blue screens. Blake and John blink at Ruby as she takes the gun, points it down range, and demonstrates that it refuses to fire. Then Ruby drops the magazine, racks out the remaining round in the chamber, and carelessly tosses it before moving on, leaving John to catch
She knows better. She knows that smart guns, they ain't cut out for magnet life.
the blue screened firearm. We return to the changing rooms at the mall, where Weiss is trying on different outfits, always satisfying 2 of her teammates, but never all 3. The only outfit that gets universal praise is a tuxedo. Weiss, however, finds it limits her movements, bunching up around her shoulders and knees when trying to do basic wide gestures. She shakes her head and rejects it herself, slipping back into the booth. We have one more visit to the Oz apartment lounge, as Neo is
A hard laugh.
cheerily waving Yang and Weiss off. The guards outside close the door, and Neo physically slumps, as though drained. We can see her tired face when she turns to the side, and she stands there for a second disassociating, before her eyes flicker up towards the camera. A second later, she rips her eyes away, and walks back into the room before we leave the scene. Back at the changing room, it's now Blake's
No, don't.
cycling through her own different wardrobe sets, the first set of which she's so heavily bundled she can barely move, and she soon falls over. This results
that's
in
your
her
dad.
teammates looking at each other, and they help her cycle through a series of more practical winter outfits, some with more layers, some with
Ninja.
less. We transition back to the workshop, panning over to Weiss and Ruby inspecting one of Weiss's new speed loaders as the two comedically approve of each other's work with over-exaggerated goofy formality.
Deal.
Sliding past them, we find Blake and Yang staring at their worktop, Blake's incomplete weapon just out of frame. Yang's face is pensive, staring down at the schematics in frustration, while Blake is fondly watching Yang with amusement.
Background characters.
After a lingering shot, there's a moment where Blake's expression goes from fondness to something warmer, which seems to catch her off guard. Blake blinks, and her eyes begin to flicker around as she becomes lost in thought, cheeks beginning to pink.
Eh.
This is cut off when Yang lets out a breath and shakes her head. Blake is knocked from whatever thought she is having. When she looks down at the schematics, it dawns on her how tired they both are, and she seems to shake her head in solidarity with Yang. Our last major moment in the montage takes us back to the changing rooms, where Yang is
Oh,
constantly
damn.
showing off outfit
Damn.
after outfit with flair. Weiss and Ruby are generally
That flare's explosive. Damn. Oh, those
impressed by
10
her
out of 10.
showboating, but Blake is clearly enjoying every outfit Yang tries on. Yang actually blushes at some of the praise and shyly tucks a bit of hair behind her ear. Her hand brushes past some of the damaged ends, and her smile flattens out. The finger curls around the lock and tugs it so Yang can get a good look. Dissatisfied, Yang speaks, bringing the montage to an official end. Hey, Ruby? Do you think you could help me with something? We jump to the team's dorm room, with Yang seated in one of the few chairs, a towel thrown over her shoulders like a barber's cape. Ruby is behind her with a pair of scissors, looking a bit nervous. She glances over at the room's couch where Weiss and Blake are both sitting, the former painting her nails and the latter poring over weapon schematics. Next to each of them is a small portable fire extinguisher. You sure you want me doing this? Weiss would probably be better. Weiss looks over at Ruby confused. Why would I be better exactly? Besides,
Because you take care of your hair well and such, because you have to in your life.
I just started my nails. I'm not ruining that with Yang's shitting. Ruby chuckles awkwardly and Yang matches it with an earnest laugh. No, Ruby, I really want it to be you. Still clearly anxious, Ruby replies, okay, before taking a careful snip at one of Yang's damaged tips like she's defusing a bomb. She squints, watching the lock drop to the ground, curling in on herself in fear. After a moment,
Your sisters are gonna kill you.
Yang asks back, everything okay back there? Ruby perks up. Oh, yeah, I just, you know. Quieting, Ruby leans forward and snips another strand of hair, slowly building her confidence. Yang, however, doesn't let the comment die. You know what? Ruby takes a breath but keeps pace with the scissors. You've always been super sensitive about your hair, you know? Yang
True.
smiles, bittersweet, her eyes glazing over. Mom used to cut her hair. Do you remember that? There's a stutter in Ruby's clipping, but she picks it back up quickly. Kinda. Yang closes her eyes, smiling fondly as she speaks. She always got so excited to trim it, said it was like playing with a warm cotton cloud. The smile sags. When she died, it didn't feel right to have other people touching it. That was what she did. Ruby glances up at her sister, concerned. So what changed? Yang gently opens her eyes, staring at the ground. Well, acid for one. Wish we had a little warning about that. Ruby groans in agreement. Tell me about it. The smell is burned into my nose. They both chuckle, and Yang becomes more wistful.
Yeah, last episode, in case nobody watched it, they got attacked with Grim, who had acid attacks.
But I figured I needed someone's help to cut away the damage, and then I realized thinking about that didn't bother me as much as it used to. She pulls a strand of damaged hair between her fingers and stares at it, only for Ruby to snip it and surprise Yang. So I'm seeing if I can have someone do it for me, and I thought I'd be safe and ask you. Ruby stops snipping and looks judgmentally down at her sister, her voice playful. Oh, so I'm a guinea pig now, am I? Only for Yang to look up at her and very earnestly reply, you're the closest person I could think of to Mom. Ruby freezes, staring down at
And she also got that red hair.
Yang in shock as water prickles in her eyes. She lunges forward, hugging Yang tightly from behind, only for Yang to scramble in alarm. Hey, scissors! Careful! From the couch, both Blake and Weiss
Now get it, Ruby.
watch the two warmly. We focus mainly on Blake, who is still puzzling over the schematic in front of her. Face becoming pensive, Blake lets out a sigh, loud enough for the rest of the room to pick up on. Yang is the first to reach out, while Ruby is still working on her hair. Blake, I told you, we'll worry about that in the morning. You're allowed to give it a rest. Blake shakes her head, eyes never leaving the page. We're so close, though. It just feels like I'm rebuilding. Weiss sits up and Ruby looks over her shoulder, asking, rebuilding... what do you mean? Blake stands, taking the schematic with her, beginning to pace. Every time I look at our design, all I see is Adam. I don't see any of me. Ruby's brow creases, and slowly she asks, maybe using that sword wasn't such a good idea. Blake shakes her head.
Maybe you should mold it down, take the whole entire thing apart, and then remake it.
I want to use it for this.
If you can do that.
Back when we were together, when he was different, there was a part of him I don't want to forget. Ruby blinks in surprise at Blake, and Yang exclaims, you and him were dating? Weiss looks at Yang, baffled, and says, seriously? You didn't pick up on that? Blake gives a weak chuckle and only replies, we did. He was a lot sweeter back then. She becomes dour again, and continues, so much of who I was in his shadow. It wasn't until I met you guys that I started to understand who I am. There's a brief moment of the three looking fondly between each other, but if I keep the sword, am I just going to be another him? She trails off, and there's a long, silent pause, save
No, you're not gonna be another him because you're different.
for Ruby's quiet snipping. Make all the same mistakes, or a whole series of new ones. Become some monster undeserving of being loved. She looks up, her eyes a little bleary, and is surprised as Yang breaks through the silence. No? You could hear a pin drop before she continues. You're Blake Belladonna, kick-ass huntress who's helping save the world. Blake is surprised by this before Weiss speaks up. You're far too in your head about this. You've been at this for days, maybe you just need a clean break. Ruby offers a wobbly smile. Yeah, I'm sure you'll find a way to make it your own. Yang looks at Blake with Mama Bear level energy. And about all that self-doubt talk,
Mama Bear energy, rise up! Oh!
stow it. You're wonderful and everyone is lucky to have you. Blake smiles warmly at the three, but warmest at Yang's reassuring words. A snipping breaks the moment, sharper and louder than the ones before, and Blake looks over Ruby's shoulder. Eyes widening, she says, Ruby. Ruby looks at Yang's head and squeaks in fear. We get a close-up of Yang's face, too tight to see her hair. Rubes? Everything okay? What's happening back there? Ruby and Blake share an anxious glance before Ruby
She
chuckles
just
awkwardly.
make her head. Oh god.
Well, it'll grow back. Yang blinks, her eyes becoming red. What will grow back, Ruby? Ruby's awkward laughter gets more and more panicked. Well, you know what they say, you can't fix something until it's broken, right? As Yang replies, I have never heard that in my life. The camera zooms in on Blake's face as an epiphany occurs to her. Twisting on her feet, she rushes out of the room. We cut to the perspective of the crafting bench, Blake unraveling a fresh sheet of paper before she begins drawing
Did Ruby die from that though? We need to know.
anew with quick, purposeful, and visually unseen simplicity and a new assuredness on her face. We crossfade to indicate a small amount of time has passed before Yang's voice cuts in over Blake's work. Hey, you know they're closing up shop soon, right? Blake looks up to see Yang approaching her and she double takes. We get the reveal of Yang's new haircut, significantly shorter than before. Yang catches Blake staring and rolls her eyes, clearly embarrassed. Don't say anything. Ruby, I said I was in for change. I'll live with it. Blake eases off the table. Oh, I was going to say it looks good. Yang blinks at Blake and scratches her neck awkwardly. Oh, thank you. You're not just saying that, right? Blake shakes her head emphatically. No, really, I think it suits you. Yang's face brightens. Really? Well, thanks. There's an awkward silence as the two stare at each other before Yang motions to the table. So... Blake looks back to the table and waves Yang over. Right, so I was thinking about our problem. Yang cocks her head, looking at the new
Shut
design
here,
on the
Yang.
table. Blake then elaborates. I think we were overthinking everything. Yang nods, scratching her chin.
I mean,
and
possibly.
asks, this is what you want to make? Confidently, Blake answers with a grin. I'm sure. Yang, seeing the conviction on Blake's face, smiles back. One question. She grabs a plasma torch from the bench and lights the flame with a manic grin. Can I do it? We jump to outside Atlas, looking at the horizon where the sun is rising low in the sky, indicating the start of a new day. We get quick snippets of Team RWBY putting on their new ensembles, all to heroic, swelling music. It ends with them checking their weapons over.
Kingdom Hearts.
RWBY running crescent rows through its transformations before holstering it and sliding on a pair of high-tech goggles. Wise adding her speed loaders to her belt pouch and checking the brake mechanism on Mutant Aster's cylinder. Yang opening and closing the improved Ember Celica 2.0, putting their triple barrels and buckler on full
Hey, triple barrels.
display. And finally, Blake, checking over the operation of her new weapon, Deadly Nightshade. Easily the most drastic change of anyone in the group, Deadly Nightshade is a synthesis that fuses the concept of both Adam's and Blake's previous weapons. It effectively serves as a longer version of Gamble's Shroud, using Wilt's red-stained sword as the base for a new folding gunblade design. The sheath is a combination of Shroud and Blush, becoming a secondary longsword for Blake to wield, while also housing a shotgun that can launch the main blade and be used independently. The change in length, balance, and armament will naturally
That's pretty neat.
require Blake to adapt fighting styles, which we'll get to see as Volume 7 progresses. The four, lined up accordingly, walk through one of Atlas's hallways.
I like that. I like these new outfits. Ruby's outfit is Ice Queen outfit based. I actually think a lot of them might be
towards a
actually.
door. It opens onto an airship pad, casting them in daylight and letting us see them fully assembled as true huntsmen for the first time. Ruby smirks and turns to the other three. You guys ready? Receiving a round of nods, Ruby pumps her fist in the air and walks towards the waiting Manta, shouting, Banzai! The other girls follow suit, walking into the camera. As the camera frames Ruby's face, we fade in on a profile image on her scroll. Ironwood is in his office, looking at it, contemplative. He scrolls up, revealing full reports for each of the girls as well as Junior, Roman, and Neo. Without looking, he asks, This is everything you could find? Winter, who is standing at attention in front of his desk, replies, Yes, including everything I could find on my sister's absence. After a pause, she asks, Are you worried, General? He replies absently, almost a mumble. Just being pragmatic, specialist. That'll be all. Winter gives a salute and leaves as
You don't trust him. He.
Ironwood turns in his chair to face the window, still scrolling through the reports. The episode ends as a manta flies off into the distant sunrise beyond the windows. Cut to black. End of episode.
Alrighty then. Oh. Wait, no. Crap, okay. So we're gonna go back. Doing the Smith stream, let's go. Alright, here we go. Okay. So I will be back. So if you don't mind, check out High Healing Weekly and my Judge Master Grand Arch. He does have 18 plus contacts, so be aware of that if you're gonna see it. Please help them out if you do not mind. And I will be back. Alrighty. Back. We are back. So after this one, son, we're all wrapped up.
Episode 7 opens inside the main hub for Atletian Huntsman, a room featuring numerous mission boards and space.
Oh, I like that guy on the far left. I like his outfit. I like it a lot.
For large debriefs.
I like his design.
Huntsmen mill about the room, gathering assignments or coordinating or just having water cooler talk, but we focus in on the main entrance to the room, a large sliding double door. It opens, revealing Team RWBY, who are slumped with exhaustion and covered head to toe in soot. RWBY
They need a big bath.
coughs, expelling a black cloud before dragging her feet through the entryway and lifting her goggles off her face. The rest of the team follow, and RWBY turns to them in embarrassment, pumping her arms as best she can. That's one way to start our career, with a Yang! Yang stares
Damn, that was corny.
deadpan at RWBY before asking, Weiss, is sororicide legal here? Weiss blinks at Yang, sighing. Sadly, no. Blake walks up beside
I have no idea what that is.
them and raises a hand. All in favor of someone else picking our missions? RWBY balks as the other two raise their hands. But I am literally your leader! Blake shakes her head. We're graduating.
And none of them approve.
We're a democracy now. Yang hops up. That's right. Weiss, you choose the next one. Weiss rolls her eyes in amusement. That didn't exactly sound like a vote, but sure, whatever. RWBY
I mean, it's better than whatever they did.
pouts. Weiss, please, I swear I'll pick a better mission next time. Did you guys come out of a coal mine?
Looks like it, don't it?
John's voice catches their attention, and the four girls turn to find Junior arranged like Team RWBY from the last
Nice. I love Noah's the most.
episode, proudly showing off their new outfits. After a beat, RWBY asks, Why are you standing like that? John quickly deflates. No reason. Weiss waves a hand their way. You three are certainly getting a late start. Nora waves a hand back in dismissal. What? Nah! We just got back. We're on break right now. John's
Damn. And they came out unscathed.
excitement roars back to life. Yeah! There's a whole bunch of great missions people don't want to do. We got our whole week filled out. No problem. RWBY cocks her head to the side.
That does sound like a problem, but good thing that they had to take them on.
So, what are you guys doing? John's eyes light up. Only the coolest thing in the world. We smash cut to John in a safety vest, holding a stop sign and leading a line of children across one of Mantle's roads on their way home from school. Ren and Nora help along the length of the line.
Ah, those kind of missions. Okay. Well, at least somebody's doing it.
With Nora holding one kid's hand and Ren carrying another on his back for a piggyback ride. John watches the kids march past in an orderly fashion, big smiles on their faces. Nodding to himself with a fond sigh, he says, community service. With the kids safely across the road, John...
Oh, damn, feel my joke. Damn. That's okay, though, I think. Yeah, no one to know nobody else wants to do it. It's just community service. But they still should do it, though.
joins them, where a few mothers or older sisters are waiting to pick up their kids for the rest of the walk home. Though, clearly, several of the women are very smitten by John's handsome appearance. One of the women steps forward and
Get your harem going. Do it.
quickly shoves a casserole into his arms. He accepts it nervously. Thank you so much. The woman takes her child's hand and walks off, leaving John to mumble, "Fifth one today." Nora and Ren wave off.
Hey, she wants to wed you, man. She wants the tea. She wants the nuts.
The last of the kids, one of whom gives Nora a surprise hug that she warmly returns. The three huntsmen stand and watch the kids go, proud at an honest day's work, when a new voice cuts in. What are you guys doing? Pup Patrol? Really? They turn to find Flint looking at them with a raised brow. Behind him we can see Mantle's wall, one of the large doors closing shut as a hover truck passes through. Neon is waving the driver off before skating up to Flint. She takes one look at the way Junior is
But nobody else was doing them, so yeah.
dressed and chokes down a snort of laughter. What's with the getup? Did someone put you up to this? John frowns, confused. No? Flint and Neon share a look of disbelief before, very flatly, Flint explains, "You guys lose a bet? Huntsman wouldn't be caught dead doing cross-guard duty." John closes his arms. Then why is it on the board? Neon shrugs, skating forward into John's face. At, like, the very bottom, right next to getting cats out of trees. Pirouetting away to skate circles around them, she continues. City job ads get tacked onto Huntsman boards, but no one seriously does them. Nora scratches her head. Well, someone has to. To which Flint responds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other people. First years, militia, whatever. Not Huntsman. He points back towards where the truck was. We gotta focus on more important work. Leave small time to small time while we keep these shipments safe from Grimm. Shaking his head, John's brows narrow. This isn't really small time. It's important work, and there was no guarantee someone was going to do it. Neon, still lazily circling the group, waves her hand with a pshaw. All those jobs get covered eventually. It's no biggie. Flint elaborates. The important work is keeping people safe and to
Oh. So they do get done. Just takes time.
do that, Atlas needs to be strong. Helping someone cross the street is nice, but that comes after making sure everything's stable. Nora looks around at the relative peace. Things look pretty stable to me. Not entirely sure what you're talking about. Ren, surprisingly, speaks up, chinning his hands as he thinks out loud. I suppose I can see his meaning. This may not be the best way to apply our skills. Looking to John, Ren raises a curious brow.
Technically, yeah, that is true.
Perhaps we should consider taking on more substantive missions. Neon skates behind Ren, resting her
How much do these pay? These just pay you anyway.
paws on his shoulders and proudly grinning. Tall, green, and handsome gets it. You guys could, like, shadow us if you want. On a real job. Ren locks up at the touch, and Nora pointedly glares at Neon, stepping up to peel the other girl's hands away. These
Don't you touch his man. You're gonna get hammered. And you're gonna get some flying. And then you're gonna laugh at.
are real jobs. Neon grins and slips away, returning to skating her circles around the crew. John watches the exchange with a frown and counters. What we do matters. It's important that people see who's keeping them safe. It builds morale. Flint tilts his head in unimpressed
Yes. I mean, I wasn't gonna mention that, but yes. I wanted to see if any of them were gonna say it.
disbelief. Yeah, but you're trained huntsmen. Going out and killing Grimm will keep them actually safe instead of feeling safe. Skating backwards now, Neon adds. Besides, that's what things like the solstice is for. Big parties, festivals, the whole kit and caboodle. Flint nods approvingly. Next time you're at the boards, maybe consider doing something in your weight class. John still seems a bit jolted by the conversation, brow creased. He goes to respond when Ren steps up beside him, putting a calming hand on his shoulder. There should be no harm in exploring other jobs. There were plenty of openings for wall duty. Neon blinks at the three. Well, if you want to be bored out of your minds, sure. It is better. Nora crosses her arms at the remark, replying, So glad we finally meet your standards. Flint's sigh grabs everyone.
The beef brews. Get that pot of brews. Halloween came early.
His attention. Look, so
Oh, speaking of Halloween and such, a high healing witchery I put in chat. Is a metaphysical store. I put that in chat. If you're watching if you're watching this as a video, you can't see that because I uploaded that as a on the active chat during the live stream.
Alright guys, I keep forgetting you haven't been here so long. Probably tired after that whole trek up here too. I'm sure you'll pull your weight once you find your footing. The apology only partially lands, with John's jaw still a bit clenched. Yeah, look, no problem. Differences of opinion and all that. Neon hops up beside Flint, resting her hands on his shoulders. Plus, it doesn't help we've been working all day. We're starving, and Flint here gets a bit crabby after missions. She pinches his cheek playfully, and he swats her away
Picky eater.
just as playfully. Shaking his head, Flint looks over his glasses at the trio. Yeah. The real reason we came over here is to ask if we're all still on for practice with Team RWBY tomorrow. Wearing a teasing smirk, he adds, that is, if you can fit it into your busy schedule. John bristles. Hey! A second later, he deflates. You know, I thought when we graduated, people would stop teasing me. Nora pats him on the back. Ah, John, that's never happening for you. Which gets him to groan in defeat.
He is stuck in an endless loop.
This content and the rest of the content on Celtic Phoenix is brought to you by the wonderful people supporting the
I will
channel
not
through
do it.
Patreon.
I will
For
not
just $1
change.
or more, you can gain
Skip
access
the
to
ad
the
break.
Tundra Discord server.
I shall
where you
not.
can interact with me and a whole host of my fellow internet colleagues, such as the other members of Team Frostbite and the Team Jacked podcast. Become a part of our regular bad fanfiction nights that happen every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by joining our chat and adding your commentary to the reading. You can also join by becoming a member of the Celtic Phoenix YouTube channel, with the additional bonus of gaining access to a bunch of sweet emoticons during every one of our
That is happening tonight, by the way, if you're watching this live.
streams,
I can't do it, though, because of life.
such as the Team Jacked podcast, which airs every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if either of those are too much for you, you can always subscribe to the channel, enable alerts, like this video, and share it around to all your friends. Thank you all so much for watching, and we now return you to
How do you want better reactions?
your regularly scheduled fixing. We cut to Atlas's main training room, a cavernous holodeck-esque space that can produce hard-light structures for maneuverability training, shield walls for sparring, and training dummies for target practice. So basically, it's just the training room we saw in Volume 7. It hasn't changed. We fly through the space, again like Volume 7,
You could just led with that.
but instead of it just being Team RWBY versus Team Funky, it's various different practices going on simultaneously. First and foremost are John and Blake, who are sparring to get better use of their new equipment. Blake is making good use of her ribbon and the shotgun built into her second blade to maneuver herself around the battlefield, but a miscalculation sends her flying face first into John's shield. John pulls back in concern and asks if she's alright. Blake stands, rubbing her nose and looking down at Deadly Nightshade. Yeah, the weight's still a little off. Can we try that again? John nods and they drop back into fighting stances. As they start over, the camera slides past them to where Nora is giggling with excitement. Using a button on her new shock harness, she's covered in electricity. It hurts, clearly, but she also gets her trademark manic rush from it as she lunges forward and cleaves through a whole row of training dummies with her hammer. Beyond her is another arena that's been sectioned aside for Winter and Weiss to spar, or more accurately, Winter putting pressure on Weiss while she's summoning to train her endurance and concentration. Weiss nearly succeeds at summoning one of her Lancers, but is easily tripped by one of Winter's attacks. The older sister looks down on Weiss with a smug grin, and Weiss just groans in irritation. Wordlessly, Weiss reaches up and Winter lifts her to her feet. We don't stick with them, as circling the whole arena are matching blurs of red and rainbow. Neon and RWBY come to a stop near the entrance of the room, where Ciel is standing with a stopwatch, giving a raised brow of approval to her own teammate. Neon whoops and jumps in the air. Victory is mine! And RWBY yells breathlessly, "What? I totally won that!" Neon pulls her eyelid down at RWBY. "Aww, someone a sore loser." Ciel looks up at them disapprovingly. Cat, don't get cocky. You're still struggling to build speed on straightaways. Neon slumps sheepishly, and RWBY crosses her arms smugly in response, only to be bonked over the head by Ciel's clipboard. The older girl gives a piercing glare. Rose, manage yourself better. 200 laps, and all of Neon's times were consistent. Yours, meanwhile, started strong, then degraded. Not only were you half as fast near the end, you've exhausted yourself. Ciel pokes RWBY with her clipboard, causing the girl to stumble. See? You need to temper your efforts or become useless. RWBY pouts, and Neon slings into her side cheekily. Listen to music while you practice. Try to stay on beat. It's a lot of fun. Just don't do tango. Made that mistake once. RWBY seems to genuinely consider the idea in earnest.
Well, if you're going at high speeds, doing tango ain't really the best thing to do, in my opinion. In this
Ciel
confirmed.
shakes her head, resets her timer, and steps back to where she was. Let's do 20 more laps, shall we, ladies? Neon and RWBY grin competitively at each other, and when Ciel gives them the signal, they take off. We follow them until we hit the last sparring arena in the room, containing Yang and Neo. The two are in a deadlock of give and take, with Yang holding her own incredibly well and Neo acting uncharacteristically aggressive. We get to see Yang's shields in action, tanking several counters from Neo that would have previously been clean hits, though she shakes it up by becoming surprisingly evasive in a way that throws Neo for a loop. We also get to see her employ the triple-barreled function, switching to just one of her barrels, labeled Too Hot, that fires a heat-seeking round. Neo dodges it by an inch, but before it can go too far, Yang flares her semblance, bursting with flame, and causes the round to arc back towards Neo. Blindsided, Neo is struck and tumbles right into Yang's follow-up punches. She's almost struck by Yang, but dodges at the last second.
She has flame manipulation?
Using her momentum to deliver a counterattack and vault herself over Yang's head. Yang, having blocked the counter,
I thought she like curved that, or like she got a little bit of flame manipulation with other objects.
With her shields, snaps to turn to face Neo and whistles approvingly. Oh, you are feisty today. What's gotten into you? Neo gives a frustrated huff and rolls her eyes, her shoulders motioning around to the observation stands of the training room. Sitting there, watching her closely, are 6 Atlesian troops. Yang becomes more sympathetic and moves in for another round of sparring,
being constantly watched.
Slower and a little more telegraphed. It's more of an excuse to close the distance between them so Yang can quietly say, "Yeah, that can't be fun." Neo falls into the more staged sparring easily, though through some of her strikes she manages to convey, "It's not fair." To that, Yang becomes a little angry on Neo's behalf. "I'm right there with you.
She knows.
You guys have had our backs this whole time. You shouldn't be locked up like common criminals." There's a pause when they're sparring, while Neo winces and bobs her head to the side, as if to admit, "Well, I mean..." Yang sighs and slips back into the fight. "You guys are more than that. I just wish Ironwood would take our word on it. You don't deserve the way he's been treating you." They
locked up in a cell under constant surveillance all dang time.
only get a few more blows before Neo kips back, hesitates, and then signs, "I can't do what I need to do like this." Lowering her arms for a moment, Yang digests the words, and then slips right back into the fight. After one more exchange, Yang simply says, "So why not just do what you need to?" The words, combined with the shake-up to Yang's style, takes Neo off balance, and for the first time on screen, Yang manages to pin Neo, which surprises both of them. Instead, Yang offers Neo a smile and a hand to pull her up. "I got your back." Neo takes the hand and is pulled up to her feet, smiling as well, though it's clear she's lost in thought over Yang's words. Both standing, Yang wipes her hands and stretches. "Alright, I think that's enough sparring for today. I'm ready to call it quits." As a part of the stretch, she lazily detaches her robotic arm and rolls the joint on her shoulder with relief. Around the room, it's clear everyone else is beginning to pack up as well, migrating towards the stack of gym bags and benches along one wall. John and Blake pass by, and as they do, Yang asks, "Hey, Blake, mind getting my bag for me today? My socket's been a pain." Blake perks up and replies, "Oh, yeah, sure," without question. Yang smiles as Blake goes to get the bags when John stops beside Yang, scanning the room as holographic geometry sinks into the floor. "Hey, has anyone seen Nora?" Yang's brows raise and she replies, "She left a few minutes ago. Said something about a meeting with Ren? Why?" John's face falls and he approaches his own bag silently.
I haven't seen Ren.
"Oh, guess I won't be finishing that book then." Ruby frowns at him from her own bench, wiping away her sweat. Looking at her scroll, her frown deepens. On it we can see a message from Penny that says, "Apologies, I will not be able to hang out today, friend. Perhaps another time." John notices her expression and offers her a sympathetic smile. "She cancel again?" Ruby shakes her head and sighs. "Yeah. She's always so busy. We haven't had a chance to really talk." John zips up his bag. "Well, I mean, defender of Mantle." Ruby groans.
"True,
"I know,
true.
but still." John chuckles. "Well, you know, you and I haven't had time to hang out. My schedule's clear tonight. You got anything else you need to do, or should we go grab something to eat?" Ruby watches as Weiss and Winter leave together, as do Blake and Yang, and the remainder of Team 32, helping escort Neo back to the apartment. Ruby's face falls pensive before zipping up her bag and saying, "Yeah, actually, there's a few things I wanted to talk to you about." In the middle of cutting over to a cafe in Atlas, we hear John exclaim, "So you have laser eyes?" Ruby leans across the table and waves her arms in front of his face.
"How did you not know that?"
"Shh, it's a secret, I think." She pulls back and John leans forward. "Why didn't you tell me?" Ruby hunches into herself defensively.
Wait.
What's going on?
He didn't know this entire time? I thought he did. Okay then. Alright.
And I'm telling you now, aren't I? John stares at the table, digesting what's just been revealed. Why aren't you using it all the time? Ruby looks at him flatly. Did you forget the whole amnesia beam thing? John lights up. Oh yeah, you did mention that.
Yeah.
Guess I forgot. Ruby kicks him under the table and the two break into giggles. They sober up and Ruby qualifies. But really, I don't know how? Like, I think I got the basics, but practicing it scares me. John leans back in his chair and puts a finger to his chin, thinking it over. I mean, if you're worried about losing your memories, why not write a journal or something? Ruby crosses her arms indignantly. John, I'm not a little girl. As she says this, a waitress attends to their table, putting down a simple soft drink for John and an incredibly gaudy, colorful, cavity-inducing drink for Ruby, saying, 1 grape soda and 1 double choco-whipped strawberry mountain, with extra sprinkles. The waitress walks away
He is a child. Nice.
without further comment, and Ruby keeps her indignant pose for only a second before deflating completely. Why does this always happen? John barks out laughing and slaps the table, causing a precariously placed cherry to roll off and the other Atlesian customers to silently judge them. His laughter dies down and he continues on his point. Well, you said Maria described it like a book, right? Why not keep your own? A bunch of my sisters kept journals. There's a lot of pointless stuff in there, but it might be nice.
Mine too. And I think my sister is still selling them, and you can check it out on the first link. I'm in the
When you're
company.
older and you want to recall something. Never really thought about it like that, honestly. Ruby takes his words to heart and begins to spoon into her drink as she thinks. Swallowing, her brows furrow. You were reading your sister's journals? John blinks in panic. It was for research! Ruby slams
Nah, so he can study and learn and be tactical against his sister, so he knows what to do.
the table. That makes it worse! Pointing, he exclaims, They were scheming! The two are muted as they break down
Good excuse.
into a playful argument, and Watts' voice carries over the scene, saying, Yes, ma'am, yes, she is quite unaware. We cut to a dark chamber where Watts is finishing setting up a bank of computers. I assume she has some convoluted machination of her own, not that it would be worth entertaining. Standing, he turns to look at a Seergrim, floating menacingly in the dark among the wires and cables.
Salem.
Salem's voice comes through, haunting and sharp. You forget your place, Doctor. You forget that she is mine, and I still have plans for her. Watts coughs into his hand. Yes, of course. I merely meant we should focus only on what we can control from our own operation. There's a lingering silence as the orb stares pointedly into Watts' eyes. Then Salem speaks again, voice softer. Be that as it may, it cannot be forgotten how valuable she is. For now, observe her, and if she needs it, instruct her. But only if she needs it. I want to see if she's learned control. Watts turns and smiles into the orb.
That is a good question, because she, like in the original, she claimed that she learned control, but she didn't learn jack shit.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Consider it done. The seer slips backwards into the shadows, vanishing behind the ramshackle servers. Once out of sight, Watts' smile slips into a deep, frustrated frown. Switching the servers on, he grouses under his breath. Valuable. Concrete shoes in the middle of the ocean would be worth more. He walks through the room, pauses at a desk, and boots on a computer connected to several scrolls, all attached via neatly organized cables. Watts spends a moment reading the information on screen before stepping away and out of the room, into a dingy corridor. With a quick pan of the camera and a sneaky cut, we speed up his walk between rooms. The room he enters contains a crude visage of Salem, assembled out of a mishmash of pieces of junk, such as mannequin parts, stolen clothing, metal cable, chain link, and so on. Tyrion is deep in focus, tongue extended in concentration as he applies the finishing touches on this, monument to his lady. Watts folds his
Totem.
arms. Truly a work of art. I'm sure Salem will be so endeared by such a ghastly display. Tyrion scowls, but pulls back, having finished his work. He flings his hands up in exaltation of the display. Your mockery is empty. We are robbed of her visage here among the savages. If we are to worship her properly, she must have presence, even if that means basking in the light of a pale imitation of her holiness. It is very little, but in that, I know she will be pleased.
You could have asked her yourself. Watts rolls his eyes. I'm surprised you didn't want to speak with her.
Tyrion only shoots Watts a momentary glare before returning to his awe-filled stare at the statue. As much as I am vexed to be your companion, it is my mistress's will, and I shall see her tapestry woven, even if my thumb be pricked along the way. He clenches his fist with a manic grin, though there's some underlying level of spite within it. Watts sighs at the theatrics, but continues on his point.
Speaking of her tapestry,
we're ready for the next phase of the plan. However, we've also been tasked with keeping an eye on an old friend of yours. Tyrion pivots, eyes narrowing. Cinder, is it? Watts gives a bitter smirk. Tyrion uncoils, shoulders sagging. Our mistress, she is testing us. With an amused humph, Watts appraises the statue.
Then I suggest we not fail.
He says with a dry huff.
I want to see
mistress, she is testing us. With an amused humph, Watts appraises the statue.
Then I suggest we not
Those look like titties.
fail. He says with a dry huff. We zoom in on Salem's face, cut to black, and end the episode.
Well, we're all cut up now. Yee.
Hello, everybody. My name is Markiplier, and welcome to
Oops, sorry, Markiplier. Oh, wait. Is this a new one? I don't know if that's a new episode. Alright. So, thank you for coming and stopping by. I'll see you guys next time. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye-bye.